unfair to people who paid their student loans or chose not to take out loans?
Is it fair to people who, in fact, do not own multi-billion-dollar businesses that see why these guys give them all tax breaks? Is that fair? What do you think?
What about people who paid their loans, though, struggle to pay their loans, and now others don't have to?
But just the final one on this,
Sure.
the people that already paid their student loans,
Right.
they don't get anything out of this deal.
Right.
That's right. Okay.
All right, guys, so there you have it. That is Joe Biden giving a absolute train wreck answer to the question of, is it fair to those who paid back their student loans to forgive the student loan debt of those who refuse to pay? Obviously, Joe Biden deflects. He wants to talk about, corporations and the rich or whatever, instead of answering the question. If you were a responsible American citizen, right? If you did what you were obligated to do financially, right? You paid back the taxpayer for your student loan. Why is it fair for others who did not do that, who were irresponsible? Why is it fair for them to have their debt forgiven? Why is it fair? Again, Democrats don't have an answer because they're the party of get out of jail free cards, right? Nothing is your responsibility. Nothing is your fault. We see them do this with criminals, right? Nothing's your fault. It's not your fault that you committed a crime and that now you have to go to jail. No, it's actually the fault of the system, right? The system's systemically racist. Therefore, we're just going to let you out on the street, right? We don't care if the city gets taken over by criminals. We don't care because we have all the protection, right? We have all the protection. We'll let you citizens deal with this stuff. Again, when it comes to student loan thing, we don't care that we're not actually solving a problem, which is that our four-year university system is bloated, it's inefficient, it's a scam. We're not actually going to solve that problem. We're just going to forgive student loan debt so we can buy votes, right? Because again, it's not your fault, right? It's not your fault that you took out this loan to go to school, right? Now, again, here's the thing. These kids made this decision at 18 years old. Obviously, they didn't understand what they was getting into. But again, you still signed up for it. You still took on that debt obligation. Maybe the government should stop pushing people into making this huge financial choice at such a young age. Maybe that should be a part of the solution. But again, the Democrats are not the party of solutions. And they tell you straight up, every time you ask them that, hey, they don't care about people who actually are responsible. They don't care about citizens who do the right thing.
I just want to ask one question. My daughter's getting out of school. I've saved all my money. She doesn't have any student loans. Am I going to get my money back? Of course not. So you're going to pay for people who didn't save any money, and those of us that did the right thing get screwed.
No, it's not anybody got screwed. When we
Of course we did. My buddy had fun, bought a car, went on vacations. I saved my money. He made more than I did. But I worked a double shift, worked extra. My daughter's worksheet is 10. So you're laughing. Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. We did the right thing, and we get screwed.
I appreciate
That's
it.
all right.
They only care about citizens who do the wrong thing, whether it be criminals or those who refuse to pay their financial obligations, okay? This is who the Democrat Party represents. I'm telling you guys. But before I get deeper in this, I just want to let you guys know, if you like my channel, you want to support my channel, you can check out my new merch, my donkeypox shirts, the disease that is infecting America, or my hashtag no days off / hard work t-shirts, the shirt that I'm wearing right now. I also have another new shirt, my MAGA Hub shirts. You can check those out on my website, gforemanbcp.com. Get 20% off using discount code gforemanbcp. So I want to talk more about this as the Biden administration has a whole lot of questions to answer about this student loan debt forgiveness plan that Nancy Pelosi said may or may not even be legal for the president to do unilaterally.
People think that the President of the United States, is this more on the subject than you ever want to know? Well, you'll let me know. People think that the President of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not. He can postpone, he can delay, but he does not have that power. That has to be an act of Congress.
Yeah, so the main question, right, the elephant in the room here is how are we going to pay for this? Because this is debt that is owed to the American government, aka the taxpayer, right? And of course, the Democrats, every time they have a big spending plan, which this kind of is what that is big spending, because essentially you're saying that a bunch of people don't have to pay back their debt to the government, which again is kind of like giving them free money at this point, right? How are we going to pay for this? How are we going to pay for this? And of course, the Biden administration doesn't have an answer.
Here's a lot about how much it might cost, it might not cost. Who is paying for this?
What we are saying is the work that this administration has done, the work that the Democrats in Congress has done is actually there. And you see that the 1.7 trillion deficit deduction that you see is going to benefit us in being able to do something for the middle class, to do something for the middle class.
But when you
This
forgive-
is about doing something for people who make less than $125,000.
But-
$1.7 trillion. That's what we've been able to do.
But when you forgive debt, you're not just disappearing debt. So
But-
who is paying for this?
And then I'll give you the second part. We lifted the pause, right? We're going to lift the pause at the end of this year, which is going to matter, right? Which is going to offset a lot of what we're doing as well. When you think about the $4 billion that's going to go back into as revenue back into this process of folks paying right their college tuition, that matters as well. So we are doing this in a smart way. We're doing this in a way that's going to be effective. We're doing in this a way that keeps to the president's promise on giving people who need some breathing room, who need some breathing room. I just laid out for you. No, Peter, I just laid out for you how we're seeing this process and why this
Wealthy
matters.
Americans, the corporations, who
Again,
is
I
paying?
just laid out.
Somebody's gotta pay.
I just laid out because of the work that we have done in the economy, because of the American Rescue Plan, because of the Inflation Reduction Act, and because all of this work that this president has done has brought down our deficit by $1.7 trillion, unlike what Republicans did when they added to our deficit $2 trillion and did not care at all or thought about how this was going to be paid for. They did not actually put in a process or think about how we're going to do this in a smart way. This is not how this administration is doing it. Again, we are happy to continue to have this conversation, but
Yeah, no answer as usual, because the truth of the matter is, the truth is always when it comes to these Democrat spending plans, how are we going to pay for it? Well, the middle class people are going to pay for it, right? The taxpayer going to pay for it, whether or not you actually took out student loans or not. Doesn't matter if you paid it back, you're going to pay for it. Guys, imagine this, right? This is what this is. The federal government basically at gunpoint, right, told the American people, listen, we're going to take your money, we're going to loan it out to people to go to school, right? And they're going to pay us the money back. Democrats are saying, no. Actually, we are not going to make them pay it back, which is still a debt owed, right, to the taxpayer. They said, no, we're not going to make them pay it back. We're going to make you pay it back. The people that gave the government the money to loan out in the first place, right? The people that had that money stolen from them by the government to loan out to the student loan borrowers in the first place. Again, this is absolutely ridiculous stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, Democrats, of course, have no answer for it. But hey, they're trying to buy votes here in a desperate attempt to try to get woke, ignorant progressives to come out and vote for them in the midterm. But there are just some people who will never, ever, ever be satisfied with a handout, right? They beg for the handout, they get their handout, and they're still complaining, right? In fact, going as far as to cry racism. And the person that we're talking about today who pinned this tweet on her Twitter profile is Miss Nina Turner, the failed congressional candidate, right, who cannot get elected to Congress because her constituents, the people in Ohio, realize that this person is an idiot, okay? So she has now gotten a job working at failing TYT because she can't do anything else, right? She can't get elected to Congress. And tweets like this are exactly why, okay? As she says, canceling $10,000 in student debt when the average white borrower is $12,000 in debt, while black women hold an average over $52,000 isn't just unacceptable, it's structural racism. Again, these people can never be pleased. They begged for student loan debt forgiveness. Biden says, okay, I'm going to do it. Even though the guy, I don't think he actually really wanted to do it. I'm pretty sure he's unsure if he can actually do it, but they're desperate at this point. He's desperate. The Democrats are desperate. So this is what they're doing. And Nina Turner here is crying racism. She's saying it's racist because black women have more debt than white people. So canceling only $10,000 is structural racism because black women owe more debt, right? Because black women made a worse decision in regards to what school to go to or what degree to get, right, to pursue versus how much money to take out to go and get that degree. Therefore, it's racist because you're not forgiving more. Wow. Again, this is why you don't get in bed with these people. They can never be pleased. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter what you do. And, of course, she got roasted in the comments for this. She said, as Jennifer Oliver O'Connell says, this black woman has less student loan debt than her white friend who went to the same school and graduated from the same degree program. Tell me again about structural racism. Again, this is a direct example of how student loan debt and how much student loan debt you accrue has nothing to do with your race, right? Just because you're black, that doesn't mean that automatically you're going to have more debt because you're black. You may have more debt because you made a worse decision with your finances in regards to either how much loans to take out to go to school or what you did with the money, right, that you got when you went to school. Because a lot of these kids, they borrow more money than they actually need, and then they take that money that they get and they go and spend it on things that they don't need. Like, I don't know, spring break, shoes, clothes. They call them a refund check. Oh, I got my refund check. I feel rich because I got, what, $3,000 or $4,000 that I didn't really need. I over borrowed money. So now I got this money that makes me feel rich. And I'm going to go out here and spend all this money on stuff I don't need. And then I'm going to turn around and complain about the debt that I owe, right? Paying the money back when I actually get out of college and go get a job. Again, it's amazing, man. These people don't believe in personal responsibility. They don't. Nina Turner says anecdotal evidence doesn't outweigh tangible data. Happy that you ended up in that position, but you should have graduated with better critical thinking skills than believing your experience outweighs the systemic evidence. See, here's the problem with this. Nina Turner is saying this, but her facts are wrong, right? Her facts are just wrong, okay? Because she said that the average white borrower has $12,000 in student loan debt. That's actually just not true according to Investopedia. As you can see here, whites have about an average student loan debt of about $30,000. You can see it's right here, right? So she's trying to correct somebody else on their ability to critically think, but she's the person that's accusing Biden of being racist for forgiving $10,000 in student loan debt, right? And also getting her facts wrong, right? Just not even being close. It's one thing to be close in the ballpark. It's another to just be completely off base. There's another point here that I got to point out here from Porsche Fan NYC, who follows me, who I think is a great guy. If you guys on Twitter, you should definitely follow him. He says, black women are notorious for going to college for criminal justice and social work, aka fields that pay in nothing but low wages and wokeness and have not real income potential. Facts. Facts. This is something I've been talking about a lot. Okay, these same people that complain about all the student loan debt, they go to school to get degrees that are not worth it. A lot of these four-year colleges should not exist because they're not providing a positive return on investment for the government. I don't have a problem with the government investing in kids to get education. We do that in the public schools. However, this incentive structure that we set up for these colleges is toxic and is perverse in multiple ways. Not just the fact that the degrees are useless, but we're also turning these kids into woke progressive activists, right? Just like we're doing in public school. So at every level of our education system, we're not doing anything but teaching kids how to be woke, and that's it. They're not learning anything. They're not getting any real skills, and they're accumulating debt, and it's costing taxpayers money to fund this system that is not working. But Democrats don't want to address that. They don't want to talk about that. And it really pisses me off because they're not the party of solutions like they claim. It's, oh, Republicans have no solutions. You don't have any solutions. Your solution is always to punish law-abiding citizens, to punish responsible taxpaying American citizens by making them fund government programs that benefit those who don't want to work, who don't want to put into the system, who want to commit crimes, who want to terrorize their fellow Americans. That's always what the Democrat solutions are. They never have any solutions that truly benefit those who are the hardest working people in this country, who put in the most, who contribute the most. If the Democrats actually really wanted to help out the middle class, the hardworking people in this country, they just say, look, we're just going to slash the middle class's tax cuts. We're going to cut them in half. Right? That's what we do. That's what we do. Just propose a tax cut just for the middle class. The rich doesn't get it. The poor don't get it. Just the middle class. Just those of us who are working. Right? You guys get a tax cut. Nobody else. They won't do that though. Well, why won't they do that? Well, part of the reasons why, because the taxpayer, the middle class taxpayer, is what funds a lot of these government programs. Right? Government programs that aren't even benefiting the middle class. Again, you will never, ever, ever see these people actually really looking out for those of us who work, who be responsible, right? Who are not trying to take advantage of the system. You'll never see the Democrats propose any solutions or try to help out the average person. They won't do it. They pretend to do it, and they call you a bigot, right, if you oppose it. Or they just call you a bigot anyways or racist anyways if you don't do enough. If you don't give me enough. Just like Nina Turner did. You can't please these people, bruh. You can't. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.